Right, hello there YouTube. So this is going to be a different format of video today because I'm recording the audio directly through my camera. Now bear with me, I have no idea whether this audio is going to be any good. Essentially my camera doesn't have one of those little ports that I can plug my microphone in, so it may be terrible, in which case I will end up having to dub this over afterwards, which is going to be not so fun, but oh well, it is what it is. But yes, for today we are doing a Griffin challenge. So this was suggested by someone on my Discord channel actually, which I'll leave in the description for you if you want to come and hang out on Discord. The idea is to combine a cat species with a bird species and make a sort of griffin thing, which sounds like a lot of fun. I'm sure it's not original, I'm sure it's not the first time it's been done, but it sounds brilliant and it sounds fairly new to what kind of stuff I do normally, so I thought, hey, let's give it a go. I have got an idea for what cat I'm going to use and I know what bird I'm going to use, so without any kind of more hesitation, let's jump into the video. Right then, so let's get started. I'm using my Arteza sketchbook. Arteza, I actually have no idea how it's pronounced, but here we go. And I love the fact that it's square. It seems to give me just that much more area to work with. I think I like working on landscape, so I do recommend having a square sketchbook. What I'm going to do is try and find a clamp. I'll clamp this open. Get rid of that. I would like... Okay, bear with me, I've only got this little, when I say little, giant clip, so I'm going to do that. So because on this page I have things I like, I'm going to keep it to sort of a pencil sketch on this side, so I'll do all of my kind of thumbnails of what I would like the animal to look like, and then on this page I'll do the final image, so we'll get cracking. So I've decided to go with two African species. The cat is going to be a caracal, who are super cute. And they've got like quite short little tails, so I thought that'd be quite fun to do as the griffin. And then I'm going to do the bird as a secretary bird. The funny thing is, secretary birds have got really long legs, so I don't know how I'm going to put this together, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by drawing the kind of body proportions of a caracal. No. Let's find... I'm just scrolling Pinterest as we speak to find the reference picture that I would like. They're really cute. If nobody's seen a caracal, I will try and flash up an image of one somewhere because they're so adorable. And they're really feisty. There's lots of pictures of them jumping in the air, which I think actually could be really useful. Especially if, you know, most griffins have wings, so if they're flying, it makes sense to have them kind of jumping in the air. So we'll start with the little caracal drawing. Make sure you can see. Here we go. Let's move that over like that. Cool. So I'm just going to start scribbling out a caracal. I don't think they're particularly big cats. I mean they're classed, I think, as a big cat species because obviously they're bigger than your regular old house cat. I think they're still quite little. So I'm doing what I always do and just throwing in very loose shapes. I do have a course on Domestika, so if you actually want to learn how to draw animals properly, I will leave a link to my Domestika course. And I teach you all about actually how I go about drawing animals in detail rather than just kind of flashing through it in my YouTube videos. And he's got his paw like this. I don't know if you can see him very well. So it's not going to be very accurate, I'm just kind of getting an idea for what they look like. I might draw one smaller as well. So he's got his full on jump going, and they've got quite small tails, so I'm only going to draw a little stumpy tail here. I like caracals, they have these really long ear tufts as well. Very cute. So, kind of where the shoulder is. Now, I've chosen my Arteza sketchbook just because it's the one that I'm nearly finished. There's literally only like maybe 3 pages left. But actually, of all the sketchbooks I have, it's not my favourite to sketch in. Like, this is quite good for a mix of things, but because the paper is fairly rough, it doesn't let me sketch as lightly as I would like to, so it's a bit of a pain in the bum. It's not my favourite, but I figured whilst I'm coming to the end of it, I might as well use it and get this sketchbook over with so I can move on to a new one. This pencil is really thin, it's only 0.3 millimeters. Most pencils you probably find are going to be 0.5 or 0.7 millimeters, if you're using mechanical ones, that is. Obviously the regular pencils are usually thicker. I like having quite a fine one because it gives that extra little bit of detail. Little cat nose. Little ear tuft. I'm not going in for crazy amounts of detail here, I'm just sort of stylising him, I guess, a little bit. Okay, shoulder in up here. He looks a bit daft, I'm not entirely happy with it, but there we are. Just kind of getting an idea down, and big paws. I might switch over to a different pencil. Let's do this one here, I think it's a 0.5. Kind of get the... I think because this one's thicker, it's actually easier to work with on this rougher paper, so or I should just stick with this one for now. I think once I've got this done as well, I'm going to colour him in with, not this side because obviously I don't want the alcohol to bleed through, but I'm probably going to colour the final piece in with some Ohuhu markers. Got a bit of a, fancy for them lately, so I thought I'd give them a go again. Little mouth, little muzzle. They're quite short little faces, but really cute. Probably going to have to find out what they hunt and why they're always jumping. Maybe they hunt birds, that would make sense. They just ping up into the air. Let's get his leggy in. I've lost the little cap on my pencil, so it's not very easy to click anymore. Sad. Little tail. They look quite fluffy. I don't know whether this is but they look kind of fluffy, which is cute. Little legsies. So there's my caracal. Just going to give him some shading. I think I'm going to incorporate this kind of pose for my final piece on that next page as well. So here's my Little kitty cat. So, I mean, it's not super realistic, he's sort of stylized, but he's much more, I think, realistic than I hope the final piece will look like, so we'll see. Give this back leg some shading as well. What colour is iron? I don't think their eyes are super black, but that's what I've done now. Accidentally coloured them too much, but they've got these like weird, I guess, markings on their face. They're really sweet. I'm sure they're not very friendly. Yeah, oh, it looks so cute, and then probably bite my face off or something if I if I went to cuddle it. So yes, leave wildlife alone. Admire from afar. So, bit of a scribble. There we are. Not great, in my opinion. I'm not super happy with them, but we're just here to practice and get the proportions in. So, got my caracal. Let's write some notes about my caracal. How do I spell caracal? Caracal. C-A-R-A-C-A. Oh. From Africa, I think. Cool, so caracals come from Africa, Middle East, and Central Asia. Do they hunt birds? Whoa, they can leap higher than 3 meters. Hey, these guys don't even need wings. So that's like, ping, 10 feet. 3 meters. That's high. That's really cool. To catch birds. Maybe that's ironic. Caracals eat birds, but I'm going to merge a caracal with a bird. Well, that's just become the ultimate killing machine. Okay, that's what I've done. Right, let's do my secretary bird. Secretary birds are hilarious. Let's do their wings because, well, obviously because I'm doing the secretary bird, I'm going to be using his wings anyway. So maybe I'll just do a wing study. Let's do just the wing for now here. So they've got quite long feathers. So what I do is I just put the base shape in. I've learnt this through quite a lot of practice. I recommend, as I do in my Domestika course, which I'd love for you to go check out. Everything takes practice, and when you're learning something like animals, I really recommend learning anatomy, because there's, every animal is made up of what might seem like a lot of parts, but all in all, they can be broke down to quite simple shapes. And everything gets a little bit easier when you understand that. So, but start with anatomy. It's the best way to learn something new, especially if you've never drawn it before. If you're looking at animals, but it's the same with any kind of thing that you want to practice. So you want to learn about it first. So they've got really long feathers, but then they are pretty big birds. So yeah, that's the problem with this page, is it just smudges. Not ideal. So that's my kind of general shape for a secretary bird wing. go in and just make it pop a bit. Just tore the page with my pencil, that's not good. Okay, so even though Arteza is a really good sketchbook, I don't actually recommend them. They tear a bit too easily for me. But it's my last one, I'm really done with it, so we want something new. So yeah, the secretary bird feathers are black. Obviously I'm not going crazy at the moment, but I'm just kind of giving them, you know, an idea so that I know this is what they look like. Alright, super messy. Black primaries. And secondaries. I don't know how to spell secondary. Sorry, my handwriting is atrocious. It's so bad. Oh well. Cool. So there's a very loose idea for the wing. And now I'm going to draw your regular secretary bird. And they're quite fun. They've got really they've got a pair of kind of fork tail feathers. I wonder if I can incorporate that. We will see. We will see. We will. They're really funny looking birds. I'm sure they don't want to be called funny. They're very, proud and distinguished looking birds. With their amazing hairdo. Right, so I'm not going to draw directly from a reference here, I'm just going to kind of wing it. So I'll draw it down here. They kind of got little heads. In there. Long necks. And they got quite kind of slender bodies, kind of giant triangles. Two fork tails that come in here. And they got long old legs. I'm not going to be able to fit this on the page now. There, long legs. Just going to doodle him. Eyeballs. These are birds of prey as well, which is super cool. So I believe they eat snakes. And that's why they got the really long legs, is that they kick. They find a snake and they kick it. And then they eat it. Which is, I mean, you guys, you do you. You do you. Got really long eyelashes. Give him his little head tufts. That'd be quite a fun thing to include, I think, in the design as well. Eee! It's like a little crown. So this is where the wings fold. They've got black front legs as well, so I'm going to include that in the final design. This is really sketchy. Sketchy as in sketch, not dodgy. I don't know if that's a word widely used, but I know it's definitely the case in the UK. When you say something's sketchy, it's suspicious. Not to say that this face isn't super suspicious, but it's also a sketch. I'm confusing myself, I'm sorry. Okay. Feathers. Right. So, leg leggies. Okie dokie. Right, so it's not a super kind of crazy, you know, detailed concept page. So what I'm going to do is I guess put together an idea for what I want the final bit to look like. I'll probably swatch on this page as well, but at least if I get a sketch down, then I can kind of just go straight into here, put the sketch of the griffin down, and go from there. Alright, bear with me, griffins are kind of new. So if I draw them kind of small, then I could do a couple of poses. So I think we'll go with a little face. We'll give him a long neck. After all, secretary birds have got long necks, and he'll have his crown like that. Now, I think typically griffins have sort of a very feline body, but with a bird front legs. So I'm thinking, if I do that, this is where, so this bit here will be this bit here, so I just scribble that in. So I do like mainly grey top half probably, and then it'll kind of fade into a browny colour. I do like caracal legs here. Like that. Oh, this could be fun. So if I do, yeah, you might have a little kind of little caracal tail. But maybe just coming off the side, it'll have these really long feathers that the secretary birds have as well. That could be fun. And then off come the wings. So I've got this black feather edge here. With these really long primaries. And then we'll have that wing coming off like that as well. Yeah, that makes sense. Little caracal legs and these tail feathers. I'm going to have to look at what these tail feathers look like. There's nothing to say that we can't make the caracal tail longer for this design, I guess. Little eyeballs. Let's try some more poses. So we'll have, I definitely like this pose, so I'm probably going to stick with it. Oh, I need to put his front legs in. There we go. I don't know whether to give him paws at the front or just... I like it. Cool. So let's try again. We'll try something like this because that makes a lot of sense to me. Put the shoulder in first because the head can kind of go anywhere. Maybe I'll have it like that. Dee dee dee. A bit better. It's quite fun. It looks like a flamingo. Oops. So I'll bring up that forearm. And this bit here will be black. It comes up to his wrist. And then, I don't know what kind of feet they got. By the way, I think it'll be like this. It's very interesting, but I like it. Bring his body down. Here. So it's nice, I'm taking this pose because obviously the base of a griffin is pretty cat-like. And then I can show off this tail if I bring this down here. I'm going to bring in these long feathers. He looks kind of silly like this. Maybe I'll... It's hard. I'm not used to drawing birds in this way because if you're drawing legs, this bit, that tends to be... This is where the ankle is. So naturally, they should go... That's where the foot is. And the ankle should go this way. But I'm drawing the ankle. I'm turning this ankle into a wrist, so the wrist is suddenly going this way, and that confuses me, so I've got to change it in some way. Wrap my head around it. And then we can have this wing. What's that? So it's almost like instead of him flying, because he's already jumping, it's like his wing could be almost more relaxed. Not like they're actually flying him. Interesting, okay. So, let's get my alcohol markers, but I'm not going to put it on this page, I'm going to put it on this page. So if I just do a little box up here, just watch. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to test out my alcohol markers. Let's see, I've got a grey. So these things are going to look really weird. And that's not even close to what colours I want. Okie dokie. I also have these things. These things came with my Ohuhu markers, and they're really good for protecting between pages. So if I just tuck that in there for now, I can move it later, but it stops bleed through from, I mean, it doesn't stop bleed through coming through to this page, but at least that alcohol marker won't be able to reach this page. So whilst this one becomes a bit messy, this one is protected. So I really like that feature from Ohuhu. I think that's really smart. I don't know if other alcohol markers do it, but that's the ones I've got. So, right, I'm going to get some other colours. Ta-da! Let's see which ones these are. Ooh, pretty. Look at those, they're so nice. Right, I quite like the pastel colours, so I'm just going to stick with those ones. And pull out the colours that I think will look best. So your secretary bird, there's a bunch of grey. Oh, that's a good grey. That grey is very good. That's cool. That's BG 050. I'm going to keep that one out. I like that one. Now let's look at neutral grey. Okay, lighter. We'll keep that one out as well. So that's CG 020. Keep them out. Now let's pull out some colours for the Caracal. Straight off the bat, that is a lovely one. E210. Now I'm doing a swatch on this page because it's the best practice. Even if you have a swatch in a sketchbook somewhere else, you might find that the colours look different naturally between different paper types. Now this one's a fairly cream, it's quite off-white, it's not a pure white. So I've swatched these things in fairly white pages, so they'll look entirely different when it comes to using them in this sketchbook. So I always recommend it. So I've just pulled out the swatch from my other bag. And you can see, like, the whites, I don't know if it's going to show massively on the camera, but this white is very different from this white, so I expect any colour to be on here to look slightly different on here. But I like the look of hazelnuts, so I'm going to go with that one. See how that looks on this page. So it's not too different, which is good. I don't want it to be crazy different, but at least I've got a good example of the brown that I want. And I can add things to this later, so I think I'm going to start with this. And I'm going to sketch up my griffin. Right. So let's do it. So I can always add like colours and clouds and this is exciting. Okay, right. Let's start with the head. So this will be the secretary bird head. I think they're very pretty with their lovely long eyelashes. There we go, got his little beak in. So I'm probably going to sketch him out first once I'm happy with him. Then I'm going to add the colour. And then I'll go over the top probably with a pencil, maybe a fine liner or something, just to really bring him out. So I'm going to give him little tufts here. Bring his neck down. They're quite, even though I think they're kind of goofy, I think they're quite elegant birds. They're very tall and graceful. Except when they're kicking a snake and then they look silly. Bring up that shoulder here. And where the body is. I'm keeping things as light as possible. This pencil lead is probably something like a 2B, so it's quite dark. But if I sketch lightly, suddenly it doesn't matter too much and I can erase it nicely because I'm not pressing the lead into the paper, because otherwise you run into a bit of problems there. So I'm going to put his leg up here. Now, I only really erase if I need to. So in this design, because it's going to be more of a finished piece, I will erase. But I don't normally do it if I'm just doing something sketchy. Like in this page, I didn't erase anything because I could just cover it up by drawing over it. That's a kind of a tip that I have for a lot of people, is to avoid erasing if you can, only because it kind of encourages you to draw better in a weird way. And I don't think we should really hide our mistakes. I mean, by all means, if you're doing a final piece and you want to cover something because it's going to affect the look of the final piece, by all means, erase, but we should just embrace it. I'm just going to put his legs in. I know it's going to look funny. Well, it's going to look funny to me. It might not look funny to you. For me it looks kind of weird because I'm not used to putting this angle joints on stuff. It's just my anatomy brain going a bit funny, but then that's good. I'm trying a new thing. Doo-doo-doo. Boards. So he's looking like a griffin, which is good. Because he's jumping, I'm going to have fairly relaxed wings. And I appreciate he's not very ambitious, he's quite simple. But it's better to try something simple and to be happy with it than it is to try something really extreme and then hate it and never want to try it again. Because mistakes are one of those things that we make and we go, okay, well, I've got to give up, I can't try again. But I recommend trying again and being gentle with yourself. Now, this wing's kind of small, so I'm going to do something like, just bring it out, screw it. I can erase it all in a minute anyway before I add the colour, so. I think for me, because it's already a fantasy creature, it doesn't really matter too much that it's not perfect. It's all about enjoying it. Bloop. cute. So yeah, it appears that they have, secretary birds have these long kind of tail feathers. So I'm just going to mimic them down here. And because it's a griffin, it doesn't have to be exact. So I'm going to make it more fluffy. And these are kind of like a little black dot here like this. That's fun. I'm going to bring another one in here as well. Whee! And do a line like that for the centre of the feather and some fluff. So, right, I think I'm going to, because of the shape of him, this shoulder point is here, so I think where the other wing would attach would be more like back here. So I'm going to bring that wing down here. Nice. Right, cool. So I've got my base sketched down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to really lightly erase it. Especially the kind of guidelines. I don't want that in the final piece. I can still see them, but it's very light. I'm going to go over the lines anyway, but there. So, alright, I'm going to go with the light grey first, and that was this C9020. So, because I've swatched it, it's easier to find because I've written the number down. And it's just so much easier for me. So I'll throw in a really light grey here. Now, what I'm going to do, before I carry on, and move make sure that actually covers what I'm drawing. And leave the eyes grey, eyes blank, because they have a very striking orangey eye colour. It's like their eyeshadow. I think that's why they were called secretary birds, because back in the day it was obviously very prejudiced and, you know, misogynist, and they were just like, well, they wear lots of makeup, but they must be a secretary, look at their jacket. So obviously times have changed, but the names have not. I'm going to put in here, put it here. Just layering in the colour. I'm trying not to add too much pigment here, because what I can do, I can just kind of blend it in with the rest of the browns, which I'm going to do now because it's easier to do when it's wet. So if I just lightly put in some grey, I'll go in with my lighter brown here. I just blend it in. Just really lightly going over the top of it. I like the brush tip, but I think for this what I'm going to do is to go to the broad. It covers more space. That's that one. I'll go in with a slightly darker colour. It's ever so slightly darker, not massively. This is what I love about alcohol markers, is they just blend so nicely. You can add a really nice kind of shadow without much effort. It's lovely. So yes, now I've got the light grey down as well. I'll go back to this slightly darker grey and add a bit of shadow in. You might find when you're using alcohol markers that it looks streaky, which it doesn't tend to stay once you've kind of let it dry. I think it's just the way the pigment goes down and when the alcohol is still wet. Pop in these bits of grey. I'm going to go over the top anyway, but with like a pencil or something, just to bring it out more. I'm going to do his tail feathers. So let's pop in some of this bright colour here. I'll just do a quick. It's not too bright. It's a little bit too bright, that one. But I can mellow it out. I think that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to. There we go. That's nice there. So they've got this kind of pretty colour here. And then I'm going to put in over the top some pink. I think this is going to be okay. Well, a bit bright, but I think it should be muted by the orange. Ah, look at that. So pretty. Now then. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to find a really dark grey to do its feathers first, and probably go over the top with black pencil afterwards. Yes, let's do that. And here comes Magic Ohuhu bag number 3. Thud. Well, I know that these are going to be super black anyway, so I'm just going to go straight in and go nuts with it. I'm going to go straight in with that dark grey. It's not even the darkest grey I have, but I think I'll go in like that first. I'm just going to give it a layer of this nice pretty grey. Definitely not what a lot of people think. I know some people think it, I've got friends that think it too. Grey is a really pretty colour, even though it's not a colour, I guess. It's like it's a tone. But you can get really nice hues of it. You can get quite warm greys and cool greys. So at what point does it become a colour? I'm not sure. But I like grey. Grey is nice. We can use grey. This colour is actually really good. I'm going to throw it in for his little feather tufts as well. That's the blessing of a brush tip, is that I can do thin and thick strokes from the same thing, same pen. It's lovely. Alright, let's throw in. I'm going to screw it. Let's just go straight in. And is this the chisel tip? Oh, it's not. It's a fine tip. This is going to be easier and quicker. You can just do the feathers in one long stroke. How nice is that? Probably go in and just kind of refine the edges anyway, but you do it nice and easy. And not feather like that. It's slightly shorter than the rest of them. And we're going to have this wing down here. What I'm going to do is go back in to that wing in the background there. Just add another layer of this grey from before. It almost blends because even though it's going into a darker colour, it adds in, it just re-wets that previous pigment and lets you kind of bring it in like that. Ta-da! So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with an even darker grey and go again. Oh, that's so nice. Look at this colour. It's so nice on you. Oh, love it. I'm just going to go back in again. And because I've already got that grey underneath, I can just build it up really nicely. And it almost adds a shadow straight off the bat. Whee! Do that there, and do that there. Add in a bit there. And do this. Ooh! I'm living for this. Now, I'm just going to go in with my darker brown from earlier and bring up some of this shadow. A bit of muscle definition. Now these caracals seem to have kind of like a lighter patch on the inside of their legs, so I'm just going to leave it nice and light there. Right, what colour are their legs? They kind of got pinky legs. I might go in with my, where is it? Yes! This one! Ooh, yeah! Look at that. That is exactly the colour I wanted. I didn't even realise that I just swatched it out already. Nice! So I've got my colour down. Now I'll go over the top with some pencil, I think. Let's go straight for... Let's go with my Polychromos. And just add in these details. Give him really long eyelashes. And then I go in with some wrinklies. It's kind of got these eyebrows. I think it's just because for some reason all birds of prey seem to have these intense eyebrows. They're very concerned all the time. Go in a little nostril. And then add this little lower beak in. So for now I'm just going to give him his outline, and I think what I might do, depending on how it looks, I might add some extra colour in afterwards using some other coloured pencils. Like, this griffin looks like you don't want to mess with him. It's a time where I nearly made a Secretary Bird original character, and they were going to be called Leslie, and it's going to be really ambiguous, androgynous in a way, because Leslie can be both a masculine and a feminine name. So I was going to call him Leslie, or call them Leslie, and leave the rest to imagination. Up in his shoulder. I'm just going to go in with the shadow straight away, to be honest. I like that I don't have to go in and do crazy detail on the wings. It's already done because of the marker pens. Do this here. I'm going to add little feathers here. Look at that, wee. Keep it simple. I'm not even going to go into too much detail with these feathers because I like the kind of the feeling of illusion and leaving stuff to the imagination. You can tell it's a feather without me making it screamingly obvious. Sort of. It's sort of okay. I find that I've been using this pencil a lot as an outliner pencil. I'm really bad at keeping it sharp, which is very naughty. I'm sure there are coloured pencil artists out there screaming at me, which I totally understand. One day I'll be good at coloured pencils enough to do them properly, but for now I'm just using them as an additional colouring tool, not necessarily like a finished art piece tool. So I apologise for having some dreadful technique. They might explain why I get hand cramp. If you're getting hand cramp, definitely look into your technique and do as I say and not as I do. So he's really fun. I like this wing here. It's really nice because I'm the kind of person who's always using references, and I'm trying to get better at drawing from my mind. So actually forcing myself to do something like this where I'm drawing from my brain, it's really difficult but really satisfying. And you know, I encourage artists to make sure they make sure they make the most of references, because I find that I never got better just by doing things from my imagination. But I find that the more that I've used references, the easier it becomes to create something from your own brain, because you've got this memory bank, you know. And I don't hate this, which is good. It's what we like, you know. It's not perfect, but I don't hate it. And that makes me feel good, and it makes me want to make more. So I'm embracing the fact that he's not perfect. Right, look at that. But he's fun. I don't want to go into too much actually. I think I'm going to leave him there. I might add some clouds or something in the background and play with a bit more colour, because I have about 1 billion Ohuhu markers and I should use them and not stick, because if you draw animals like I do a lot, most animals are browns and greys. And then you get birds. Birds that come in such variety of colours, but I don't draw them I do draw them a lot, but I don't tend to colour them very often. So having this flash of colour seems nice, but I want to make the most of the other markers that I've got. So I'm just going to maybe just pop in some blue to suggest a background. I got this. Yay. I'm not doing anything crazy here, I'm just throwing in some colour for the fun of it. I think because the pencils as well are kind of, I think they're wax or so oil based pencils. I can kind of go over the top of them and nothing dreadful happens to the pigment once I've laid it down, so that's quite nice to know. Spreads a little bit, but there we are. Nothing is perfect, especially when you're trying new things. So I've got some blue in. I'm going to try another blue. I have about 1 billion blues. Ooh. Pretty. That cloud's on its own. Let's draw another cloud. Nice. So it is really simple and nothing too extraordinary, but that was a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments if you like that, because I'm totally up for doing it again. Ta-da! Well, that'll do, I think. So yes, I hope you like him. I think he's come out really nicely. That was a lot of fun. So yes, I hope you enjoyed watching this. Let me know if there's any cat species or bird species you'd like to see combined into a griffin. It'd be really fun to give them a go. As always, I have a Patreon if you want to come and support this channel, plus get a whole bunch of extra goodies. I'll leave that in the description below. If you want to come join my Discord, come sign up as well. That's completely free and it's just a great private space for us artists to hang out and have fun. Now, if you were an artist and you could say yes to this question, I've got something for you. Do you or I struggle to be motivated? Do you ever struggle to be motivated? I have just come out with a brand new course that is going to be perfect for you. I'll link it in the description below. It's called The 9 Essential Habits of a Flourishing Artist. It's everything that I do to get myself motivated when it comes to drawing, and especially something like this, because today I'm not feeling so good, but I knew that I had to come out and do something creative for YouTube. And it took a lot of motivation, and that involved me implementing some habits that I use every day in order to get more motivated. If that sounds like you and you want to know what I use, I'll link it in the description below, because for a very limited time you're going to have a bunch of savings and discounts off on it. It should be worth about £270, but at the minute it's 27, and when it goes to launch day it'll be 47, so it'll be super cheap for a while, and I really encourage you to sign up if you actually think that that'll be useful for you. So I can't wait to see you there. Can't wait to see you again if you enjoy this content. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and subscribe if you're not already, and I can't wait to see you again for the next one. So bye guys!